What is happening, B's and G's? Jim here from R.C.A.D. Today is January 4th, 2023, and we just created a new type of RC. So what do we have sitting before us? Well, this is my Vaterra K10 Ascender, obviously slightly modified, completely stock vehicle, other than our modifications that are done to it currently. TRX4 Sport Tracks axles, portal axles, TRX4 Sport Tracks tracks. And I stole those items off of my niece's TRX4 Sport Tracks. Sorry, Bug. All in the name of science, kid. I'll get your axles back to you here in a couple of days. All right, taking a look at our Vaterra K10 Ascender. Let's peel the body off of this guy and see what we got going on underneath with all our new modifications, which was actually pretty easy to do in all reality. Almost a direct swap, taking axles off of one vehicle and moving over to the other. And I've been wanting to do this ever since I purchased these tracks for my TRX4 Bronco. Looking at the underside of our Vaterra K10 Ascender, or any Vaterra Ascender in general. Looking at our TRX4 Sport Tracks axles, or just TRX4 axles in general, and our mounting positions on those. Rear links going down to the bottom of the axle, lower links I should say. Shocks mounted just to the either side of those links. Looking at our stock Vaterra axle, right here, our rear links get mounted right here on either side. Shocks get mounted just to either side of those, both sitting inside these little brackets. So very similar setup between the two, and they're spaced out just about equal between these two axles. So not much modification needed to be there, or needed to be done there in order to get that put on. Upper links, same thing, positioned just about in the same spot as the Vaterra axle. TRX4 versus Vaterra. Looking at our rear link setup, sitting right back there, basically in the same position. Yes, there is some fine tuning that's going to need to be done with a project like this. Right now, we are just in experimental phase, so forgive me for that. But there is some fine tuning that will need to be done. Our shocks aren't exactly straight up and down. They're leaning inward this way a little bit. So we need to take this link off right back here and put a small spacer in here and space this back just a little bit in order to get that to where it needs to be so it's sitting perfect. But right now, it's not too bad for using stock equipment, and we should be okay on the back axle. Drive shafts, totally different drive shafts all the way around, so we'll get to those guys in a minute as well. Let's look at the front axle. Front axle, very similar, once again, to the Vaterra axle, as far as where the links go and where the shocks get mounted. Here are our lower links right here on either side, shocks on either side of those, spaced out a little bit further than what it is on the Vaterra. Looking at the Vaterra axle, right here. Our links get mounted right here. Shocks get mounted just to the inside of those or just to the outside of those. Spacing, once again, just about in the same spot on the axle. So the spread is just about the same on those links and the same, but just about the same on the shocks. Same thing with our front mount up here for the upper link bar. Just about in the same location as it is on the Vaterra. Only real difference between the two axles as far as mounts go is where the panhard bar gets mounted on the edge of the axle. The Vaterra's panhard bar is way over here on the outside, close to the edge of the axle, and the Traxxas is just a little bit further inward, right about where my finger is. So there is some slight adjusting that needs to be made right there for getting that exactly centered left to right with the panhard bar. Otherwise, pretty much a direct swap from one to the other. Drive shafts. Well, unfortunately, we cannot use Vaterra drive shafts on a TRX4 axle. Just totally different animals. Looking at the pinion gear coming off of the differential, Vaterra's got a universal joint right here coming off of their pinion gear. And most other RC cars do not. They just have a regular straight shaft coming off the end of the pinion gear, allowing you to slip a drive shaft coupler over top of that and attaching it. So the Vaterra is slightly different. If you're going to do a swap like this, you're going to need some new drive shafts along with it to accommodate it. So what I'm using on this right now, these are not the right drive shafts. These are for my Trailfinder 2. And I haven't put them on my Trailfinder 2 yet, so I decided to put them on here. Our rear drive shaft, this is a hot racing 107mm to 142mm drive shaft, right around $20 US. So 107 closed, 142 fully opened, and it's not the right size. It's a little bit long for this fitment, but it works. It works, but just a little bit too long. Front drive shaft, this is a 95mm to 130mm. Once again, not the right drive shaft for this application. It's a little bit long, A little bit shorter would work better, but it still works. We can still collapse the suspension without worrying about bottoming out the drive shaft. But a shallower drive shaft would probably be more beneficial. These guys being as long as they are would work great if we're going to put longer suspension on the truck. Maybe jump it up from 90mm shocks to 100s or 110s, and we'd have more than enough length on those drive shafts to accommodate it. Going back to our hookups here. Upper links, just about in the same place on the rear axle. Didn't do any modifications right there, just bolted it right up. Rear axle, I basically just bolted that straight up on there, 1-to-1, exactly how the Vaterra axle was. And everything pretty much jives, other than, once again, needing to put an extra spacer in down here on either side, just a small little spacer to push the axle back just a little bit to get our shocks a little bit more vertical. Front axle, different story. Pretty much mounts on here directly, once again, but the axle sitting forward a little bit too far, needs to be pulled backward just a pinch. And that's going to be tough to accommodate because we have no more adjustment point right here on our upper or on our lower links, which means that we're going to need a shorter connector down here on the end, or a shorter eyelet. So we can find a shorter eyelet and take about a 1/4 inch off the end of this, and that would get us to be get us right where we need to be with having that axle pulled back in the right position. So right now it's close. It's close enough to work for testing, but it's not perfect. Need some new eyelets here on the end, some shorter eyelets to bring this back a little bit further. Upper link, I had to extend this just a wee bit down here. Now this already had an extension on it. Their stock link had a pretty long extension on here. So what I did is I pulled out the eyelet off the end, removed the stock grub screw that was in here, which was extremely long, put in a grub screw that was slightly shorter, put in a couple of spacers that were slightly smaller than the stock spacer, and that got our axle back to where we needed to have it. That way we have our drive shaft or pinion angle at the right angle. All right, so flipping it back over, looking at our pinion angles right back here. And that is what I was messing with this link up here. Making this slightly longer just to kick that axle back a little bit so we'd have better pinion angle. Right here we can see our shock angle leaning forward just a little bit on this side, going that way just a little bit. So once again, we need to come in here and put a shorter link on the end of this, or different links altogether, so we can bring this axle backwards just a little bit, 1/4 of an inch, to get this squared up a little bit better. But right now it's good enough for testing phase. So there we go. Our links are all hooked up fore and aft. Moving on to the front of the vehicle. Once again, panhard bar locations and mounts and all that other good nonsense. The stock Ascender axle has that panhard bar mount sitting right over here on the outside edge. Once again, tracks us just a little bit further to the inside. So a little bit of custom rigging needed to be done here in order to get this to sit center and right where it needs to be. Right now we're using the Vaterra panhard bar versus the Traxxas one. Traxxas one was too short to work on this application, so I had to go with the Vaterra panhard bar on this one. This was a little bit longer than what we're currently seeing. I had to shorten that up a little bit. It did have this little spacer right here, sitting right on this edge right there in between our end link and the link itself. So remove the spacer, remove the grub screw that was in here, put a shorter grub screw in there, and then just mounted that end link right up to the end of the link itself to shorten things up. So removed a small spacer out of that link just to get a little bit closer to where we needed to be. And it's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not bad. It'll work for the moment, but it still needs to be dialed in. We're not getting our full travel up and down. We need to change out this end link down here for one that is offset. And we might have to move this mount from here to a little bit further up, maybe up into here. So we might have to drill a new hole through this upper mount just to get this panhard bar up a little bit further. And then once again, we need a drop down link to bring our link down a little bit. Otherwise, it works out okay. But right now, we're bottoming out right here where that link mount is attaching to the panhard bar. So we're bottoming out on top of our portal axle right there. So ultimately, we need to move this link mount up into here a little bit higher, chop off the remainder off the bottom, and change out our end link from a straight end link to one that drops down a little bit, or one that is slightly curved, so we can have it the curved side facing up and blah, 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 blah. It all makes sense to me. It probably doesn't make sense to you guys, but it makes total sense to me. All right, so everything works at the moment. It's pretty close. It's close enough that we can do a video with it and get a run-in with the vehicle before we get everything dialed in. Once again, not my axles. These axles have to go back onto my niece's vehicle. So right now, this is strictly experimental purposes only. All right, let's take a look at those drive shafts. Once again, not the right drive shafts for the vehicle, but I'll show you what drive shafts we're using. Hot racing drive shafts, fore and aft. Once again, these guys are made for an axial SCX-10-1, the original SCX-10, not the SCX-10-2 or the SCX-10-3, but the original SCX-10-1. So these are steel center drive shafts. This one is a 107 to 142 millimeters. That is what we have on the back of the vehicle. Once again, a little bit too long for this vehicle. It works, but it's just a pinch long. But it gives you guys a good idea for a starting point. Part number SCP-37VM, SCP-37VM. Once again, that one's just a bit long for the back. The one that we have on the front might be a better fit for the one on the back. Looking at the front drive shafts, center steel drive shafts, once again, 95 to 130 for the front for this guy. This guy would probably work better on the back. Part number SCP-37VS, SCP-37VS. 95 to 130, probably be a better fit for the back. Front drive shaft, a little bit long on there. This guy might be better with a 90 millimeter to 125, maybe. Something like that. Might be a little bit closer to what you need. But it gives you guys a good idea for a starting point. Another thing that's a question in my mind is the gearing on this vehicle. Our internal gearing on the Vaterra transmission, not too sure if that's going to be low enough to be able to handle these tracks. And that's another thing that I want to figure out here with testing all this stuff out and doing this little test run video, is to see where our gearing's at, if it is low enough or if it's not. If I decide to put a set of trackless axles onto my Vaterra, I need to know whether or not I need to lower the gearing on them, which is a nice thing about the trackless axles, the ring and pinions. They are somewhat adjustable. They do sell overdrives and underdrive gearings for the ring and pinion, so that is adjustable. Internal gears on our Vaterra transmission, 48 pitch gears for the spur gear and for the pinion gear. 86 tooth spur gear, 12 tooth pinion gear. And that's about the smallest pinion gear that I can get on it and pretty much the largest spur gear that we can get for it. So right now, this is about as low as it's going to get other than putting in a different motor. And we are still running our stock Spectrum 35 turn motor, whatever came with the vehicle. All right, so there we go, boys and girls. We got the tracks on. We got everything ready to go. All we need to do is plug in a battery and take this guy out for a test run. So let's go do that. All right, it's about 9 a.m. We've got our truck turned on. We're all good to go out on the adventure course. We've lost a lot of snow since our last run out here. Had a couple 50 degree days and a lot of rain. I lost a good 2/3 of our snow quantity out here. We got the truck all turned on though. We're good to go. Let's give it a shot. Uh-oh. That is going forward. And that is going in reverse. All right, we need to swap some motor wires around here real quick. All right, we are all swapped around, good to go. Now forward should be forward and reverse should be reverse. One thing I was wondering about was power issue on this vehicle, if we're gonna have enough power for these tracks. And that's wide open, we seem to have more than enough power. I have my truck geared down for those extremely high geared Vaterra axles. So swapping over to the TRX4 axles, they are significantly lower geared than the Vaterra Ascender axles, and we seem to be doing okay. If anything, I might be geared down a little bit too low on the transmission. Made it through the gate. Heading over to the frog pond area. As far as I know, this vehicle is a first of its kind. Haven't really done any YouTube searching or anything like that, but as far as Vaterra K10 sport tracks, or Vaterra K10 with TRX4 axles and TRX4 tracks, I don't believe I've ever seen that combination before. Once again, this is just experimental phase right now. Awesome turning radius. Wow, that thing really cranks it over. Yeah, if I were to run a setup like this on my vehicle, I'd probably have to do some drastic gearing changes. The way I have it set up right now with an 86 tooth spur gear and a 12 tooth pinion gear. It's extremely low geared. That is wide open. Plenty of power, not much speed. Making our way out of the tunnel. Let's crisscross the course and make this a little bit more interesting. Climbing up on the log pile right now. We're just going to make a right turn right here, I think. Cut across the course and find some fun terrain. Approaching the over-under brick bridge. Last time we were out here, this baby was completely covered in snow. Couldn't even see the entranceway. Oh, a little bit slick on the brick bridge. A little readjustment before we slide off. Went into this with all kinds of confidence. It was going so well. Once again, my niece's tracks, her rear track units, they still have the shock limiter installed. And I think that is our holdup right now. Is that we're hopping on those back tracks. I think we're going to slide off the bridge right here and have a serious problem. We got the driver's side track sliding off, passenger side front track sliding off. And what I was getting to with the limiters here, I'm going to have to get this guy back up and put it back on here. What I'm saying with the limiters is we still have the limiters installed on here. So the tracks can't rotate any further than this in a clockwise position or a counterclockwise position on the other side. And that's giving us a problem right here on this arch going up to the bridge. Track just can't pitch back far enough to get good traction on this. My Bronco, on the other hand, rear limiters have been removed, same with my brother's Bronco, so they have a little bit of an advantage right there compared to this one. Yeah, that track's not tilting, so we're just riding on that front edge of the track, right on the very front edge of that back track, and we're repeating what we did last time. We're sliding off. Alright, we're not making it over that. Heading up the rocky bypass. Going good until we hit that rock. Once again, that rear track still has that limiter installed, so we can't tilt back like we can with the other Broncos. Make our way up and around it, not a problem. Let's head over the bridge. Last few times I attempted the log bridge, I wasn't able to make it. That was with my Bronco. I don't really expect us to do any better with the Ascender. Kind of a track versus log situation more than anything else. Steering servo on the Ascender is a Savox SW1210 MG, I believe. I say I believe to the MG and not an SP or any other kind of G. Yep, can't get any traction on the log bridge. No fault of the vehicle. Just can't get traction on logs. Gotta creep it on down. Do some creepy crawling. Nope. Too slick. A little bit too slick for us. Heading back out the way we came in. In search of some more interesting terrain. Oh wait. Getting stuck in a footprint. Like my niece's front shocks on those track limiters need to be adjusted just a little bit on the soft side. Track's wanting to toe in pretty easy. Wanting to do this, rolling over obstacles, towing in. So those need to be stiffened up just a little bit. And into the next big rock hill obstacle. As long as we can get a line into it without rolling over. Nope, we rolled over. A little too top heavy. Another mental note, might want to add some wheel hex spacers to it just to widen things up a little bit. Nope, that wasn't a gap in film, that was a gap in my brain. Wheel hex spacers. I have 6mm wheel hex spacers on my TRX4 Bronco. And we're just running the stock 4mm spacers on my niece's TRX4 Sport Tracks. Gotta find our way back up this next hill. No problem. Track's squeaking and creaking the whole way. Since that's one of the tougher sections, let's spin around and head back the other way. Right track towing in once again. Right front. And just stiffen up that spring just to prevent it from doing that. So on our anti-rotation bracket there on the back half of that track unit, we need to stiffen up that shock spring just a wee bit. Yeah, no problem with that obstacle. Back down the hill, see if we can find some more interesting stuff to climb on. Back up onto another rock path. Kind of thought we might have a little trouble right in this area right here, because we were technically off the course and back on the course briefly. No problem though. Gonna keep on trucking up the hill, off the course and back onto the course. Heading up to the over-under log bridge, rock bridge area. Give that a whirl. Last time we had the offender on the log bridge, we rolled her over. Broke our bumper. Bumper's been repaired since then. Obviously a few other modifications since then. Making our way around through the trees. Starting to make our approach up the hill. No problems with rock bridge. Zip around and hit the log bridge real quick. Do some readjusting so we can square this baby up. Three-wheel motion as we turn the corner. Lining up on the log bridge, not expecting any problems with this one. I say that, but keep my fingers crossed. Once again, extremely narrow crossing. You can see that here with this small amount of snow coverage that we have. Wow, man. Nice English, James. Yeah, pretty tight crossing through there. Just riding on the edges of the tracks as we're crossing the log. No problem with that. Just zigzag off the course. Drop down underneath the log bridge. Squeaky tracks. Mainly it's just the deep lugs that do that. The regular all-terrain tracks don't squeak like that. At least not that I recall. Heading into the log bridge, difficult area to film as we are driving through a trench. Big drop going over the snowbank. And heading up and out through the rock bridge. Actually, not doing too bad with the portals and tracks for Vaterra. Once again, this is just a test run. Putting this vehicle together for the first time ever. Seeing how everything flies, and if everything works out well, then maybe I'll start shopping around for a used TRX4 or something that's half beat up and broken. I'll just steal the axles off it and slap them on this truck. Getting off course, crossing over the wall, rock wall divider, stepping over. Heading over towards Old Stump. We'll bypass Old Stump and head towards the cabin for a second. A little bit of a boring area here as we cross across this flat section. Heading over towards the cabin. Collapsed cabin. Now, if we do make it to the top, we're going to have a clearance issue with our chassis on the top of the roof. But if we hit it diagonally like we are currently, we might be able to make it over. Maybe. Yep. We just got it. Not too bad. Just goofing around, of course. Let's try that straight on approach. Back up and do a little readjusting here as we're approaching a landscape light. Coming at it straight. I'm sure we're going to hit this landscape light on the way over. Since we're hitting it straight, we're probably going to snag our belly pan. Nope, we still cleared it. No problem. Kind of stuck right there between the gaps on the tracks. Yeah, that was fun, climbing over the cabin. Definitely need to do some gearing adjusting on this guy. Taller pinion gear. perhaps.
Open over the roof one more time, just for cracks and giggles. Oh, we're stuck on the landscape light. I knew I should have ran that thing over. Alright, let's go find some more stuff to play in. Running over some scale trees as we make our way into Old Stump. Not too sure how long we're going to run today on this battery, on this vehicle. I'm running my Vaterra specific battery, which is a Dynamite 4000 milliamp 2S LiPo shorty pack. So I'm not sure how long we're going to be able to run on this battery. 4 amp 2S LiPo. We're dragging a stick along with us. Trying to lose that stick, man, but it's just hanging on there. Got rid of it. Wide open once again, not very fast. There's that track towing in again on the passenger side. It really needs to be adjusted. Not knowing how long our battery was going to last, I just picked up the truck and spot dropped it to the next location. Mental note, the Vaterra Ascender Sport Trax is significantly lighter than my TRX4 Bronco. Or my niece's TRX4 Sport Trax. A lot less stuff hanging off the chassis, plastic fenders, and all that other good nonsense. Don't have any of that stuff on the Vaterra. It's a much lighter vehicle in general. So with the tracks on it, it might actually do better in soft powder snow compared to a standard TRX4. Just because it's a lighter vehicle all the way around. So it have a better chance of sitting on top of the snow versus a heavier TRX4. Coming up to the log crossing, not expecting any issues here. With the snow cover, we're straight up and over. Making our way towards Prometheus. We're gonna bypass the course and just cruise up and past and over top of this guy. Hopefully we don't roll it over on the back edge. My apologies for the lighting. Early morning hours, overcast day. No problem on that back edge. See if we can climb back up it. I doubt it. We'll give it a try. Put ourselves into position here. digging a hole. I'm starting to notice some ice buildup on those back idler wheels back there for the tracks. That's probably why we're getting that excess creaking going on with those rear tracks. The vehicle was acclimated, but it's 33 degrees Fahrenheit outside, which is just on the edge of freezing. And I think our rear idler wheels on our tracks are starting to build up with some ice. Right back here. Yep, there's a huge ice buildup back there. Normally I run these tracked vehicles when the temperature is falling. So below freezing is what I normally aim for. That way you won't have these ice buildup situations going on if your truck is properly acclimated to begin with. You won't get any of that ice buildup. Not too bad. It's a little bit on the bogies, but otherwise, not bad. They're all cleared out, continuing on. Don't think we're going to make it over Prometheus. Not today, not on the steep side, maybe on the shallow side over here. Not so steep side. Yeah, piece of cake over there.
Attention valued viewers. All right, over the Christmas holiday, we hit the 5,000 subscriber point, and as I've said in the past, we will be doing a 5,000 subscriber giveaway. Not too sure when we're going to do that. After working on this RC workshop / studio and just getting over the Christmas holidays, just hit the 5,000 subscriber point during the Christmas holidays. Wasn't expecting that to happen. The last few subscribers were just kind of trickling in, and then all of a sudden, boom, there we were. Over 5,000. So I need to do a giveaway, but I want to do a separation of the classes on this giveaway. I want to keep this for the loyal few. According to my YouTube stats, only 15.9% of my YouTube subscribers actually watch my videos. So I want to keep this giveaway to you loyal few, the loyal 15.9%. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to announce that giveaway in a video such as this one right here. Very similar to what we're doing right now. We'll have like another crawling video. Midway through that video, I'll do an announcement just like we're doing right now. And I'll say, hey, look, we're going to be doing this giveaway. It's going to be coming up here in the future. Pay attention to the next couple of videos, and I'll announce it midway through the video. And in that video, whatever video that happens to be, basically what we're going to do is I'll have you guys leave a comment with a code. I'll give you guys a special passcode to leave in a comment. That'll get you entered into the giveaway. And then on the following video after that, midway through that video, we'll break again, and I'll have like a little giveaway video showing who the winner is. You know, we'll do the whole drawing and everything on video, and we'll just kind of, piece it into the next crawling video. Not the next one, but whatever crawling video has a giveaway, we'll put it into that one. And we'll announce the winner during that. But it's going to be hidden. It's all going to be within the video. So the people who pay attention to the channel, the people who actually pay attention to the videos and watch them from beginning to end, you guys are going to be the ones who are privy to the giveaway. Everybody else, the people who just fast forward through videos or don't even watch the videos at all, they're going to lose out entirely. So I'm trying to keep this giveaway for the loyal few, the loyal 15.9%. And that might be the passcode to get in. We might use the loyal few or the loyal 15.9 or just 15.9 or something like that as a passcode. So pay attention to future videos. Not sure when it's going to be. Could be a week from now, could be a month from now, could be 2 months from now. Not too sure when we're going to do it, but we will be doing a giveaway here in the future. That 5,000 subscriber giveaway. And it's probably going to be the last one once again, but I want to keep this for the loyal subscribers. In the beginning, I wanted to have YouTube, my YouTube videos and channel pay for these giveaways, but that never worked out. I mean, that was kind of high hopes on my end, a little bit naive. Technically speaking, if all 5,000 subscribers watched every video that I put out, and they watched at least 15 seconds of every commercial on those videos, then we probably wouldn't have a problem doing a giveaway every month. I could probably give away one brand new RTR vehicle every month if all 5,000 subscribers were watching the videos and actually supporting the channel. But as it is right now, we only have 15.9% of the subscribers who are watching videos. And I love you guys, guys and gals out there, you loyal few, the loyal 15.9%. You guys are awesome. You're the only thing that's keeping this channel alive. So once again, this giveaway is for you. All right, there we go on that one. Just as an experiment, for all of you who are paying attention to everything I just said here, at the end of this video, somewhere in your comment, just as an experiment, leave a question mark and the number 1 somewhere in a comment. It doesn't matter if you leave it at the beginning of your comment or at the end of the comment or in the middle of your comment, but leave a comment somewhere in the comment area at the end of this video with a question mark and the number 1, just so I know who all was paying attention and who wasn't. All right, so there we go. There's the announcement, the 5,000 subscriber giveaway announcement. It's not today, it's not tomorrow, but we will be doing it in the future, and it will be announced in a future video. So pay attention to the upcoming videos. Could be a week from now, could be a month from now, but we will be doing it, and I will be announcing it midway through a video. All right, so there we go on that nonsense. Let's get back to this video and continue on with our Vaterra K10 Sport Tracks, first of its kind.
Pretty non-eventful on the adventure course, so moving over to the gravel pile. So far we've been driving for 60 minutes roughly. 3 20-minute videos, and we're still running. And that 4 amp 2S LiPo. 35 turn motor, once again 12-2 pinion gear, 86-2 spur gear. Right now we're wide open. We've been wide open most of the time with this video just because this gear is so darn low. Running full pull wide open with the LiPo is not always the best idea. Heat up the battery. So we're trying to vary the throttle a little bit here in between, so we're not always hitting full pull. No problem on the gravel pile so far. Been making up and over without a problem, going both ways. Yeah, piece of cake. Dug our way through the snow. Tracks are getting into the dirt. Change up our approach ever so slightly, slow it down just a little bit. Now we're digging holes. A little too steep and the gravel's a little bit too loose to be getting traction on. Oh, she's not having it. Mess around that stuff too much, we're going to have frozen dirt added to the frozen snow on our drive cogs. All that other good nonsense down there in the track unit. Get out of here and rinse their tracks off a little bit in the snow. And on to the next gravel pile. So we can make it up this one. Different type of gravel. This one's all limestone. Covered in snow. And we made it. Same thing, we'll spin this baby around, see if we can make it back up. Full pull on the throttle. No problem. Gearing is obviously not an issue as far as being low enough on the transmission to handle the tracks. Plenty of low end power out of that Vaterra transmission to spin these guys over. Sure, Vaterra had that transmission geared a little bit low to begin with, just to compensate for that extremely high differential gear that they had on the ring and pinions. I would say that was some relatively successful testing so far for first run on the vehicle. We discovered that our motor wires needed to be reversed right from the start. Most likely because of the portal axles. Changing the gear rotation around a little bit. This is a steep hill. We learned that the gearing is okay on the Vaterra transmission, that it can handle the tracks without a problem. Digging in a little bit right there. We learned that rear shock limiter on the anti-rotation bracket for the rear track units is a little bit of a hindrance sometimes, like right now, not allowing those rear tracks to tilt backwards at all. Or rotate upwards. All in all, not too bad. The old Vaterra with a set of TRX4 axles and tracks. Pretty good combination. Needs some suspension work, needs some fine tuning for the axles, getting those dialed in and sitting in the right place once again with link adjustments. Otherwise, not too bad. We made it up to the top of the hill. And I think that's going to do it, boys and girls. Relatively successful run for a first run with the Vaterra K10 Sport Tracks. Once again, the tracks and axles need to go back to my niece. She's going to be wanting those back for her TRX4 Sport Tracks. So they're not on here for a long time. Maybe for a couple days at the most. Hopefully we can get this baby back out at least one more time in some actual powder snow before we're forced to remove these tracks and give them back to my niece. So that is going to do it, boys and girls. Very much appreciated for y'all sticking around and watching the video, and we will see you all on the next one. Thanks again.